What the?
Hey Marvin, it's Reid, co-founder of LinkedIn. I've heard you can help me get more energy and optimize my health. I tried the keto diet and already exercised several times, but nothing seems to work for me.
Of course, let's hop on the call. Did you ever sacrifice your health and body in order to accomplish a big goal, such as building a successful business? Well, over the last 6 years, I've seen many entrepreneurs and executives entering their 40s and 50s who now get confronted with their poor health. They have troubles getting off their weight, their testosterone levels and therefore their energy and drive drops, and the chances for serious health issues such as heart diseases increases dramatically. But there's a solution for that. So in today's video, I will show you exactly what I would do if LinkedIn founder and tech investor Reid Hoffman would ask me to optimize his health and longevity. Welcome to the channel. My name is Marvin. I'm a health professional and consultant behind top performing entrepreneurs, CEOs and executives. And one man I would really be interested to working with is the LinkedIn founder Reid Hoffman. You may be familiar with him, but in case you're not, here are a few short facts. So Reid Hoffman co-founded the professional networking site LinkedIn in 2003, which he then sold to Microsoft in 2016 for a stunning number of $26.2 billion in cash and joined Microsoft's board. And he's also an investor in Airbnb, which went public latest in December 2020, and autonomous driving pioneer Aurora. At the time I record this video, he's on number 8 on the Midas list for the top tech investors according to Forbes. But despite that huge success, he publicly wrote about the challenges with his health and weight. His very first startup, SocialNet, which was a dating site, was, quote, a lonely and stressful journey for him. Until this day, he reports that he's still dieting to lose some weight, which he gained as an entrepreneur. And that's a problem many founders and entrepreneurs face. Because let's be honest, life as an entrepreneur can be stressful and sometimes pretty lonely. And food, especially high caloric or high sugar food, can be a stress relief for most people. Maybe you can relate to that. Having a pretty hard day at work and you come back pretty late in the evening, food cravings and sugar cravings are not far away. And it sounds like Hoffman was facing that in some regard too. In addition, for many entrepreneurs and business professionals, eating out is somewhere part of recruiting and sales. I know this from some clients of mine who are working in the real estate space. And it's pretty common that they go out several times per week to meet with clients and potential business partners. And beside the food, it's really likely that a bottle of wine gets opened. This toxic combination of high stress and bad food choices can not just lead to a massive weight gain over time, but also to some serious long-lasting health issues such as high blood pressure, high blood sugar such as diabetes, as well as the increased risk in strokes and heart attacks. And there are right now, unfortunately, present examples for that. In 2025, so pretty recently, the CEO of the yogurt company Epigamia just died at the age of 42 due to a heart attack. And his sudden death sparked a national conversation in India about the health risk associated with high-stress corporate environments. But does that mean that we should stop working and just doing yoga? Definitely not. You can still build a legacy, take care of your family, and experience vibrant and bulletproof health and longevity. And if Reid Hoffman would ask me to achieve that, this is exactly what I would do. Step number 1, I would check his blood lab. I assume, or at least I hope, that he's already doing this on a regular basis, because people in that position and also in that age should really pay attention to their blood lab. But unfortunately, from my experience, a lot of doctors just look for diseases, not for prevention. So you may be healthy for now, but what about in 3 or 6 months? So the goal is to stay healthy, to be able to perform on a high level and not just treat diseases. And these are the exact things in the blood lab that I will look for. First of all, his complete advanced lipid profile. Because it's not just about cholesterol. If someone telling you that a general high cholesterol level is bad and that you shouldn't consume cholesterol at all, he didn't educate himself really well. Because overall cholesterol isn't a problem. If we want to reduce the risk for strokes, heart attacks. We're not just looking about overall, but specifically HDL, LDL cholesterol, and triglycerides. To get a little bit more specific, we not just look for LDL cholesterol, but also ApoB LDL cholesterol. To give an example, if your overall cholesterol is high, but it's mainly because your HDL cholesterol is high, but in comparison to that, your LDL and your triglycerides are pretty low, that's actually a good sign. To give you some numbers, let's say your triglycerides are at 50 and your HDL level is 100. That means your triglycerides to HDL ratio is 0.5 and you want to stay below 0.8. If we now switch that, so that means your triglyceride levels are at 100 and your HDL level is at 50, that means you have a ratio of 2. And unfortunately, some people walk around with triglycerides level of, let's say, 200 and an HDL level of 50. This would be a ratio of 4. In that case, you should take action immediately because that's a strong sign that you're insulin resistant. Already talking about blood sugar and insulin, I would also check is HbA1c levels. This is like, you can imagine like the average blood sugar glucose levels over the previous weeks. And I've also seen in the past with some of my clients when we track their glucose levels with a monitor 24 hours a day, that high levels of stress, independent if you ingest any kind of food, can elevate glucose levels. And this can of course prevent your fat loss and also over time lead to serious health issues. That's why the HbA1c levels should stay under 5.5%. In addition to that, I would also put a glucose tracker on him for 14 days to see when and why the glucose is spiking. Is it certain foods? Is it certain behaviors? And therefore we could specifically identify which activities, which foods, which behaviors lead to higher blood sugar and which lead to lower. Of course, we can go deep down the rabbit hole of blood parameters, but I want to make this video as simple as possible. But there's still one value that I want to mention, and this is the thyroid hormones, because thyroid hormones are necessary when you want to lose weight. And therefore, we are looking specifically for TSH and even more specific T4 and T3. And there we can identify if there's some issue with that, maybe because of genetic predisposition or just a lack of conversion from T4 to T3. So with the blood lab, we have some data that we can work with and optimize specifically. In addition to that, I would measure his body fat percentage using a Dexa-Scan. Dexa-Scan is right now, at that point of time, the most precise tool to also check the body fat percentage. It's really important with the weight loss process that we not just have a look over the entire body weight, but also specifically how much fat and muscle we have. And there are simply two reasons for that. First of all, I would get him to do resistance training. Why? As we're building muscle, we're also increasing our metabolic rate. As a byproduct, also increasing testosterone, various hormones, which makes it way easier for long-lasting weight loss and also keeping a low body fat percentage, because you're simply burning more calories and your hormones are working optimal. And of course, strength strongly correlates with longevity. So we also seen in experiment studies that the stronger the people are, the longer, the healthier they live. And second reason, muscles also have weight. Actually, muscles are heavier than fat. So that means we sometimes don't see the difference on the regular scale. So yes, it can slow the progress of purely losing weight, but we're actually doing twice the progress because we are building muscle and we're losing fat. And I know from my experience that sometimes it can be frustrating when you're trying to lose weight and you step on the scale and your progression is not that huge. But it's pretty vital and important for a health journey to experience success and also have fun with it, especially for entrepreneurs who want to see increasing numbers. And I also researched Reid Hoffman's personality type. So he is an ENTP, if you're familiar with the Myers-Briggs personality. So he's confident, dynamic, energetic, and therefore also ambitious, which immediately takes us to the next step. I would assess his brain chemistry because I assume that he is a high dopamine individual. That means he thrives on energy and motivation, which is somewhat good for entrepreneurship, but also comes with some side effects with it. Because high dopamine individuals oftentimes struggle with sugar cravings and weight gain issues. So to counterpart that, you should increase your serotonin levels. By the way, I offer right now a neurotransmitter assessment. It's a questionnaire that gets personally evaluated by me. You can check the link down below and see if you qualify for that. Because by doing this assessment, by having these results, you can then make specific adjustment to your diet, exercise routine, and your day-to-day health habits. So, why I would also do this with him? I was reading that he was following a keto diet for some time. Well, I'm not sure if this is true, and it's just based on my research, so I don't know if you follow that at that point right now. But if he's really deficient in serotonin, for example, a keto diet can make massive problems, especially in terms of sleep quality, metabolism, and mood. Because people with low serotonin need carbohydrates to increase serotonin levels. So if they completely cut out the carbs, this can cause problems. But even if he doesn't follow a keto diet, he reported publicly that he is following a diet or dieting in general. And this is a huge point because I don't believe in dieting. And it's pretty simple. Remember the last time that you had a gastrointestinal infection? I'm pretty sure that you dropped a lot of weight in a pretty short time. But how fast did you gain the weight back after your infection? And the same happens with extreme diets. You're restricting yourself, you're starving yourself to death, and you also develop a micronutrient deficiency. And when you finally achieved your weight loss goal, you go back to normal and gain back the weight immediately. That's why I would do a complete different approach, because I would increase his food intake. I would get him to eat at least 3 times per day, no joke, but with high protein, high micronutrient and low caloric food. So he would never be hungry, and I would still allow him to have some treats here and there. So he would lose weight, he would build muscle, and he would have energy throughout the day. The next part that we cover is stress management. But stop. Stress management is not about stop working and just doing yoga. Because that's for many entrepreneurs and executives not an option. Because many people get stress management completely wrong. Stress is not what we're doing or how much we're working. Stress happens on a biological level. So we can't control most external stressors. So performance pressure, employees, or some private personal issues. But we can control how our body deals with that stress. And we control that with the right vitamins and minerals. So someone who's experiencing higher levels of external stress, because, for example, he's working a lot, or exercising a lot, or both, he simply needs more vitamins and micronutrients because his body simply burns or uses more of that than the average guy. And these sugar cravings that you feel when you're highly stressed, this is a sign of the body that he needs energy and nutrients. And if you deliver them in advance, in form of a proper supplementation protocol, you can prevent and avoid these cravings. But if you're dieting and restricting your food intake, you're also consuming less vitamins and micronutrients. In result, your food cravings go stronger and your body is even more stressed. To give an example, a study from 2022 found out that a supplementation with B vitamins and magnesium can lead to a significant reduction in stress symptoms. And we also know from science that vitamin C, for example, is a potent protector from oxidative stress and can reduce cortisol levels. So in conclusion, we arm the body with the right nutrients in order to deal better with stress. Next step on his health protocol, I would improve his gut health. In a really interesting study from the Charité in Berlin, they showed how a transplantation of a healthy gut bacteria can lead to instant weight loss. So they took healthy gut bacteria from humans and transplanted them into mice, who then lost 10% of their body weight within 2 days. We also know from research from the UCLA that specific bacteria in the gut have the ability to break down carbohydrates efficiently, so people with a different amount of these bacteria lost also a different amount of weight while the caloric intake remained the same. So in simple language, you can eat the same amount of calories, the same amount of food, But if your gut bacteria is either optimized or poor, you will have different results. That's why I like to use gut health tests and specific probiotics when one of my clients either want or have to lose weight. Probiotics are also scientific proven to support weight loss, increase energy levels, and decrease food cravings. But most people don't pay attention to their gut health. And honestly, it's not a popular topic that many people like to talk about. Yes, we talk with our friends about the exercise that we do, maybe the food that we eat or the diet that we follow, but no one really talks about with their friends how their poop look like and how often they go to the bathroom. Hey man, how are you doing? Great, I had such an amazing stool this morning. Yeah, I'm glad for you. So let's get to the question, what would be possible to achieve in his age? At that point right now, he's 57. And honestly, there are no limits. So yes, it is tougher when you burned your candle really strong in the early years. We've seen from people like Brian Johnson how many years of life you can gain back even after the age of 40. But not just these extreme examples like Brian Johnson. Also, look at Jeff Bezos, how he changed during the last years. Or look at Mark Zuckerberg. Of course, these people have a lot of capital to invest in their body and their health. But hey, who wouldn't do that either? If you worked hard your entire life, but now your quality is decreased because you always experience some health issues, or you're dealing with the fact that you already lost a lot of healthy years. Who would not pay money to get maybe 10, 20 healthy years back to their life? Let me know in the comments down below which person I should create a video about as a hypothetical client next, and what specific area you would be interested the most. And Reid, if you see this right now, check the link down below and book a call with me. I'm really excited to get to know you. That's it for today, guys. See you soon.